With frustrations growing with the relatives among the 239 people on board MH370 and at the lack of progress in the search, maybe authorities need to rethink the situation. A theory that's been disclosed amongst experienced pilots, but not considered seriously in the investigation, is an electrical fire on board. Veteran pilots say the Boeing 777's left turn is the key to this theory. Zaharie Ahmad Shah is an experienced pilot with 18,000 hours of flight time. Old school pilots are trained to know that in an emergency, you head to the closest safe harbor, which means don't fluff around, get yourself to safety, but don't risk people's lives on the ground. By turning left, Zaharie was taking a direct route to the island of Langkawi, a 13,000-foot airstrip on an island with approach over water with no obstacles. It now seems feasible the captain did not turn back to Kuala Lumpur because he knew he'd be heading over mountainous regions and populated areas. He knew the terrain was friendlier towards Langkawi, with nothing in the way but sea and breeze. The loss of the transponders and communications is no longer a mystery when you factor in a fire. And is an internal fire so improbable? Because if there was a fire, the response would be to pull the main fuses and restore the circuits one by one until you've located the bad one. If they'd pulled the fuses, the plane would go silent, meaning the transponder would go silent. In a serious enough event, the flight crew would have been preoccupied controlling the plane and trying to fight the fire. Any experienced pilot will tell you, aviate, navigate, and lastly, communicate. There are two types of fires. An electrical fire might not be fast and furious. There may or may not be incapacitating smoke. However, there is a possibility given the timeline that there was an overheat in one of the front landing gear tires. And if it blew on takeoff and started slowly burning, the fire could produce horrific, incapacitating smoke. Most passenger jet pilots have access to smoke hoods with a filter, but this will only last a few minutes, which means it's useless on a long-haul flight. So what could have happened is the flight crew were overcome by smoke. The plane continues on its course, probably on autopilot, until it ran out of fuel. Or the fire destroyed the control surface and it crashed. Think about it. This could have turned both these pilots into heroes instead of the suspected villains. Now don't you feel bad?